Ho, ho, ho. Give me your best ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
That was your best?
Yes, this is why I will never be Santa Claus. It's okay.
Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho.
We'll see how that sounds. All right, well, welcome to the Biblically Centered podcast, where today we are having a little festivities.
Yes.
Christmas is just right around the corner,
Oh, man.
less than a week away.
It is.
And so we are going to just have a fun, lighthearted episode.
Let's do it.
Yeah. For those who do listen to this podcast more regularly, obviously the podcast typically goes through 26 virtues that we've established in our biblically centered curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
But today's episode is going to be very lighthearted.
Yep.
We're just talking about Christmas.
Yes.
And, of course, you know, the room is decorated a little bit more festive for this episode. So those who are listening instead of watching, sorry, you're missing out on some of the experience.
Some of the aesthetics.
All right, but to introduce ourselves, my name is Johnny Jordan. This is my wife, Danica.
Hello.
So, Danica, do you want to give a brief history of yourself real quick?
No.
All right, well, we're going to move on in the spirit of Christmas. So we thought it'd be fun just for this episode, just to be, just a lighthearted, hopefully fun, funny, maybe, episode. We're going to do a Christmas countdown. Okay? Of our top 5 favorite things about Christmas.
Yes.
And we did not consult with each other, but when we put our list together,
No, we didn't. I can already assure you, Johnny will have a better list.
I don't think my list won't be better. I did mine a lot quicker than yours, so there's a chance that yours has more thought in it than mine. But again, we did not consult with each other beforehand.
Correct.
So my assumption, though, is there will be some things that will, like, I'll have things on my list that are on your list. You'll have things on your list that are on my list. So, like, if I say my number 5 and that's Danica's number 3, we won't talk about it twice. We'll just mark it off your list.
Okay.
So who knows how long this will take? But
We'll see. I tried picking unique things, I think.
I tried picking honest things.
Mine are also honest, but I also was like, I feel like this would be on his list. What's something else I can do?
Yeah, mine are pretty basic, and I would assume that the people listening probably have a lot of these things on their list too.
Probably.
But I do have some opinions about these topics.
As always.
Okay, so I'll let you go first with yours. What is your number 5?
Okay, my number 5 is something we have recently started doing. With my siblings last year and Johnny's siblings this year, instead of giving physical gifts, we have been just going out to eat and spending time and having fun together. And I really enjoyed last year doing that with my siblings. We all live in different cities and states. There are 4 of us. We live in 3 different states and 3 different cities. My sisters live in the same town. But it was just a really nice way for us to actually be able to like all chat and talk together and enjoy quality time. And so this year we're doing that with most of Johnny's siblings. And so that should be a fun time.
Yeah.
It's just we're all old enough we can buy what we need to buy.
Mm-hmm.
And it just seemed like, oh, yay, thanks.
Yeah,
like,
gifts are kind of a interesting thing, especially being in adulthood, just
Right.
because I think the best way to say it is if I'm going to get a gift for someone or someone's going to get a gift for me, I don't necessarily want it to be like
they felt like they had to do it.
right.
Right.
So like I know that there's pressure at Christmas, and of course we want to have a great Christmas for our kids, and of course, you know, maybe get some gifts for each other or whatever that are meaningful, but for like siblings and people beyond, I don't want there to be this unnecessary pressure that like, well, I got to get something for my brother and I don't know what he wants, and like so you're going to end up spending, you know, at least $20 for a gift that they want. You don't even know if they're going to really care for
the time and effort of driving yourself crazy of trying to buy like. Anyways, it was just very helpful last year to be like, all I did was make a reservation.
Yeah. So and it was a lot of fun last year.
Yeah.
We went out to dinner, went and played some pickleball at an indoor pickleball court and hung out. And
Yep.
So we're gonna do that. We're gonna try that this year with my siblings who are in town for Christmas, and so that'll be fun. And I think that'll be, hopefully, if it goes well this year, hopefully it'll be a tradition that we can keep on with moving forward. So that's a really good number 5 for you.
There you go. Yeah. I know, coming out strong with number 5. All right, what's yours?
So if you are listening and you are in that place where you're like, man, I really love Christmas, but sometimes the trying to figure out gifts for everyone,
that is very true,
is maybe stressful, and you don't feel like necessarily worth your while and all that stuff. Pitch a different idea, something that maybe more of an experience versus
and we chose like a place to eat that we don't go to normally, so it kind of made it like fancy and different, so you already know you're going to spend money on your meal, and you kind of feel like you get to treat yourself depending on where it is. So propose that idea. I hope that your family will love it.
Well, my number 5 is a little bit more basic. I just said Christmas movies.
I mean, that's a giant.
It's a giant category.
Yes.
Just because there's just something special about Christmas movies, and we always try to make a point with us and with our kids to watch, a handful of the ones that we really like. So I think it's a tradition the kids really look forward to, and they have specific opinions on, and the ones that they are starting to like and think are funny and are able to quote and that sort of thing. So Christmas movies is great. We watched A Christmas Story for the first time this year. I know that, I'm sure you know this too. Everyone has their opinions on like what's their top 3 Christmas movies.
Correct.
And I feel like there's the people who are in the Christmas Story camp who grew up with it, love it, think it's the best thing ever. And we watched it, just Annika and I, for the first time a week or 2 ago.
I had seen it long ago.
Oh, okay.
But had completely forgotten.
I never seen it.
I knew the highlights.
I knew that a kid got his tongue stuck to a pole. I knew that someone talks to him about getting his eye shot out, and that's really all I knew. And that he gets kicked down a slide by Santa.
The leg lamp is...
And I had seen the leg lamp, but I didn't really know the context of what that was to the story. So seeing it for the first time, I enjoyed it. I think it would be one of those things that I would have to have grown up with to appreciate it more. But what, just off the top of your head, what if you could bullet down, what are your top 2 favorite Christmas movies?
Oh my goodness, top 2? Honestly, Santa Claus is just classic. Tim Allen, just classic.
Yep.
And also, I didn't watch it a ton growing up, but we watch it every year, is Christmas Vacation, which is just laugh out loud the whole time.
Yes. Yeah, so Christmas Vacation I feel like is more is like what some people view A Christmas Story as.
Right.
Is what I view Christmas Vacation as.
Yeah.
Because it's just funny. I usually see it a couple times a season just because it's on TV or whatever, and it's just got some funny moments. Santa Claus is in my top 2. Yeah. I do love that one. I still have memories of seeing that in the theaters when it came out, which is great. But It's a Wonderful Life.
No, I know. That one's like, yes. That's a more somber one about the season.
Yeah, it's not the holly jolly story.
Which, this year, we watched for the first time, they had like a colorized version, which made it.
Yeah, on Amazon Prime, we were going to watch it, and there were 2 versions of it. I was like, why are there 2 versions? And like the descriptions, which Amazon, if you're listening to this, do a better job with your descriptions because the descriptions told us nothing about what the difference was between the 2.
Right, no.
So we clicked on one, and it was in color.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a studio out there, I forget the name of them, that go back and now they're restoring a lot of old movies into color. And and it looks legit. It looks like it was filmed in color.
Yeah.
And really, really cool. And it kind of just added a extra dimension to the story. But that's always a great one. Of course, it's heavy for 85% of the movie.
Yes.
And then the end, you cry. And I did cry this time just because, it's just a good movie that I think just continues to help you put things in perspective. And I know it's considered a Christmas movie, but, it's not really a Christmas story until the end.
Right.
And it got nominated for a few Academy Awards and won for something, I forget, like a technical achievement or something like that. But
I just think it's great that because it gets dark so early, so you just want to be cozy, and where we are isn't.
I was talking about the movie gets dark so early.
Oh no!
was like, wow, yeah, it does.
I mean, it does.
Kid gets hit in the ear.
No, I just mean like this time of year in the evenings, it gets dark at night. And where we live now, I mean, it's cold. It's not like freezing compared to people up north, but
we hit like
it's nice to just be cozy, and all you want to do is watch movies. And there's so many options around this time of year.
Yeah.
And then the kids, we've found a lot that they enjoy too. So
lots of good ones. And so I enjoy it. And I'm always kind of sad whenever, to me, the saddest day of the entire year is December 26th.
Which in Canada is Boxing Day. They have a holiday on that day.
Yeah. That
I don't know what that
means.
means. I know.
But, you know, because like we'll still have family here, you know, and like we'll still be doing Christmas things. So I just feel like it's different when it's already after Christmas. Like going to look at Christmas lights is different after Christmas. True. And watching Christmas movies is just different. We'll still enjoy it, but to me, my favorite part about the Christmas season is kind of like the build up to the day.
Right.
So, all right. You ready to move on?
Yes.
Number 4.
Okay, so you actually just said it. Christmas lights.
That's my number 3.
Oh, okay. They're on my list because we did it all growing up, and we still do it like with our kids. We load them up, and there's actually this like awesome house this way, north of us.
Good job. Danica normally is like,
well, anyway.
there's like a grocery store that we live next door to, next to our neighborhood over there. And Danica will be like, I'm going to go to Dylan. She'll like point. And I'm like, where do you think we are? I'm like, it's this way. Anyways, good job with your directions.
I am excellent with maps.
You are, actually.
I always just view myself as facing north, so then I point to the direction. Anyways,
it's
whatever.
A little selfish, but yeah.
But yes, there's this awesome Christmas house that we found, and it's literally in the neighborhood across from us, and they sync their lights up so cool. And
one of those houses where they just go all out.
Yeah.
Like every square inch of the yard is covered, and then you pull up and tune your radio to their radio station, and then
it's so fun, and the kids love it. Yes. And they raise money, and
it's a little different every year. It's not like they don't do the same thing every year.
So, but one of my most favorite memories growing up, because we used to always do it, we would load up with our hot chocolate or after we made cookies or something. But one year, randomly, this will just give you an insight to my family. My dad had purchased an airport shuttle bus.
When you say purchase, like he bought it?
Yes.
It wasn't like a rental?
No.
He bought this bus.
Shout
out to Danica's dad because
found a great deal.
One of my favorite or most unique things about being in her family now is just seeing all of the, like, her dad is crazy when it comes to finding deals on anything. Like he's just really good at finding deals.
Right.
But 2, finding deals on really, like, I wouldn't say unusual. Well, maybe unusual is the right word. Just unique vehicles.
I mean, how many cars when we started dating did I have in my driveway? And there were only
when I first showed up to your house, there was like
and my parents
8
drove.
cars in the driveway. And I was like, are they having a party? I was like, I didn't know there was gonna be a party. And I walk in, it's just her family.
Yeah, we always had around 8 to 12 cars.
But your dad would buy a lot of cars that needed work,
right,
to fix them up. But like right now, he has a TV truck in y'all's driveway, which is huge. It's like an old school, like news station TV truck.
Yeah.
That what did he say? He paid $300 in a generator and traded for this giant TV truck. I'm like, what?
Yeah, but they want to like take it camping.
Yeah.
It's got like a bed and stuff in it. Anyways. Okay. So one year he had an airport shuttle bus. Okay. And so, he took our family. I was homeschooled. So we had a family who had like 8 kids. We took them. And then I think at least 1 or 2 other families. And we were all able to fit in this airport shuttle bus.
Were you? Was this when you...
I was probably like 12 or something.
Okay, so this is when y'all lived in...
Yeah. In our old, and I just remember like someone had brought like hot chocolate and thermoses that we were handing out. And it was just like, you're just on this bus looking at Christmas lights. And it was so much fun. So...
That would be really, really cool. Why did he get rid of that? I feel like there'd be so much functionality to that thing.
I think he was able to sell it for a great price.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, anyways, shout out if anyone has an airport shuttle vehicle. They like the van. Like that's what I'm talking. Like.
Yeah.
Anyways, it was fun. So.
So like I said, Christmas lights is my number 3.
Right.
And this is one of the topics I do have opinions on,
Yes.
which I voiced them to you. There are certain things I love about Christmas lights, and the things, because to me, Christmas lights, they're in essence of kind of like that Christmas magic. Like, to me, part of the magic of Christmas lights is the effort that was put forward to accomplish the lights on the house. And I'm not saying I'm like against people hiring professionals, because obviously that still is someone up on the roof putting lights on.
Right.
So it still is effort, but like a lot of people just get the little like, and I think the trend, I really feel like the trend has started to wane a little bit, because I haven't seen nearly as many of them in the past couple of years as I did maybe 5 years ago, where people would go to Lowe's and just buy like the projector lights and put them in their yard that just like project lasers or different color lights onto their house, and they would just call it good.
I think that was a big, like, what's that one, like, TV show where they just sell stuff all day long? Like, I think that was on.
Was it on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like a, what are those things called? You know, you walk in the store and they have the whole, like on
as
TV.
seen on TV.
Yes, as even.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I do have a family member, one time we went to their house years ago, I don't know if you remember this, and they had those green laser lights, but in their yard pointing up to the trees.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was crazy because you couldn't see the lights, but when you look up in the trees, you would just see all these green lights just up in the branches, and that was kind of cool because it made the trees feel like they were alive a little bit at night.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, the people who just say I'm gonna go put Christmas lights on and just go outside for 10 minutes and stake something in the yard and just project like a blue ocean scene onto their house and say that's not Christmas spirit. Sorry. Also, I don't like inflatables in people's yards.
No, and what was it? We drove by a house the other day, just during the day, and I told Johnny, I was like, it just looks like there's just a bunch of like carcasses in their front yard.
Exactly. It's like you power them down, except in the night. So when people drive by your house, especially the people who have like multiple of these in their yard, there's just like these little sacks of dead Santa Clauses in their yard for the whole day. I'm like, that does not bring Christmas spirit.
No.
9 times out of 10, even when they're inflated, they look dumb. So ditch whoever got us on the insist inflatable. They're hard to stake down. If you got to stake them down with like Magna stakes, because if you're in a windy city like we are, I mean those things blow.
Oh yeah.
So it's too much work for what the reward is, and they just don't look good.
Well, and another trend that we've seen, because in our area, I don't know about y'all, they go all out for Halloween, which gets a little, I don't love it. We avoid certain parts of town. But there's one house that still has their skeleton up over their fence, and they just put Christmas lights on.
Yeah, those dumb.
Anyways. These
trends are insane. But yeah, there's a yard, and it's a really nice house.
Yeah, and so they just put Christmas lights in his hands as if he's like putting them on their fence. Yeah. And I'm just like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Let's not
do that.
So
stick with the season.
So yes, Christmas lights are great. We love them.
I do Christmas lights every year at our house.
Yes.
It is a little bit of a process because I do them on the roof, wrap the poles in the front, put them on the bushes. I hang icicle lights from the.
But last year you saved yourself time. You like labeled everything and like packaged it all good.
Because normally when Christmas season's over, like I'll leave the lights on for a week or two after Christmas. Right. But then when it's time to take them down, I just kind of try to get it over with.
Right.
But last year I was like, I'm going to take a little bit extra time. I rolled everything up individually. I wrapped it, labeled everything. Like with the roof lights, I labeled the order, which that was extremely helpful this year.
Yes. The
order in which the strands go, so that because last year it worked out perfectly to where like the strands were literally ending at like it was a miracle last year because I didn't plan it, but all the strands were like ending at like corners and like at perfect spots where you could attach another strand. So so I labeled them. So it worked out again this year. So
well, that's awesome.
Okay, so my number 4.
Yes.
I'm assuming this is on your list. Christmas music.
It's actually not.
That's not on your list?
I mean, I love it. That's what I was trying to say. I was trying to pick like kind of unique things.
Gotcha.
So, but I do love
Christmas music. Everyone has their opinion on it, whether you can play it all year, just a Christmas season, during Halloween, whatever. I do have some rules. Typically, I don't start until mid-November. I'm not like a purist where it has to be after Thanksgiving, but you kind of slowly start weaning into it.
I think our daughter asked for it in October this year, though. So I think we played it a few times in October.
Did we? I don't know if we did.
Maybe I did.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have approved of that.
I'm a little... It hits October and it starts getting dark. It's just like, I want to play it.
But some people hate it. I love it. I think there's lots of different elements to Christmas music, and I love most of the different, because there's some Christmas songs that are just very surface level about Frosty the Snowman or whatever.
Yeah.
And then obviously you can go down the deep theological Christmas songs, and there are so many really, really good Christmas songs. I love singing them at church.
Yeah.
Like I am on the worship team at our church, and so yesterday I started practicing for our Christmas Eve services, and just some of the song choices that are in there,
they've been incorporating them well at church this season.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be like
kind of a mashup of
we'll
kind of go into really the bridge of a Christmas song or a verse of a Christmas song, and then back into
because they have such deep, rich meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, how she's been pairing them has been really impactful.
And I think we talked about Christmas music on our last podcast.
I think so.
But a shout out to my Christmas list again. Johnny Jett playing on Spotify. I got 2 of them. Flat White Christmas, which is over 3 hours of Christmas music that I carefully selected.
Yes.
And then Christmas Morning, which is a shorter list, a little bit more of the classical Christmas music just to play in the background on Christmas morning. So if you need something that's a little bit more unique, that's not just a Spotify generated playlist.
Correct. What would you say would be like the song or songs that just remind you of growing up Christmas? Or do you have
growing up? Well, Bing Crosby, just all of his Christmas music just reminds me of Christmas morning.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just like I said in the last episode, just because we would always have like that kind of stuff playing in the house on Christmas morning. So it just kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah.
But my favorite, I think O Come Emmanuel might be my favorite.
Oh, nice.
Like Jesus-centered Christmas song.
Yeah, I love that one.
And there's so many different renditions of it.
Yeah.
From August Burns Red's metal version of it, which still, it really is a masterpiece. And my friend Curtis, did I talk about this on the last episode?
I don't think so. Shout out to Curtis again.
I think I did talk about it. We had a couple friends who aren't necessarily don't like metal music who, there's an instrumental Christmas album by August Burns Red called Sledding Hill. That's great. But anyways, the O Come Emmanuel, there's an instrumental version, but it's good. I mean, I've teared up listening to these songs before, and they're metal instrumental versions, but there's just something about it.
Yeah. Yeah. I was finally able to find the Christmas album that I grew up with on YouTube like a few years ago. So like 2-3 years ago, I was just having to play YouTube and then like click next. But it finally came out on Spotify last year. But it's like an old school BB, CeCe Winans, Stephen Curtis Chapman.
Yeah.
It just,
and a couple of them made it to the playlist.
When I hear those songs, I can picture exactly.
Yeah.
Like Christmas, my family. Yeah. So I love Christmas.
Anything else on Christmas music?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it's just great. And yeah, we literally have it on, I think 24/7 right now.
And our daughter, she'll like literally wake up in the morning and we'll just go over and turn it on just so it just plays in the house. And then sometimes I get, kind of tired of the music, like digital side. So then like all yesterday I just put on Bing Crosby's, I forget the name of it, but it's the one where he's wearing a Santa hat on the album on my record player.
Yeah.
And just kept for, hours, just would let it play, then flip it, let it play, flip it, let it play, flip it, let it play. And just did that all during dinner and stuff. So.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, this is kind of a super random one, but my family, we still just crack up laughing about it. So my dad's mom used to live in our same town growing up, which was awesome. She was able to like babysit us and hang out. She was over all the time. But for Christmas, obviously, she would come to our house. But there was one year in particular where I think maybe my brother had woken up kind of early, like in the 5 to 5:30 range, like
on Christmas morning.
Very early, yes. Which normally it was like 6 o'clock. Mom and dad would let us wake up early and we could see like our stockings and our big Santa gift that was unopened.
They would let y'all do that before they woke up?
Yeah.
What in the... No.
Then they got to sleep in some, yeah.
No.
So, yes, they did.
Not allowed in our house.
So, but one time I remember my brother going out there and he had looked out the window and there was somebody out there. So he went and got my dad, and my granny had showed up at like 5 a.m. and was just like waiting, like scouting the house to see if we were awake yet so she could come in.
So she was just standing in the yard?
Yes. But she would just, it was just fun having that anticipation from like your grandma or my granny.
Yeah.
With you as a kid. So like she wanted to be there to like see us when we first woke
Yeah.
up and stuff. And so, yeah, I just remember my brother being like, Dad, I think there's someone out there in our yard. And it was my
Like a
granny.
ghost. You just look out the window and you're like, what?
She did that a few times though. So anyway, she would always come over and join us. But
There is something special about the grandparents' involvement with Christmas for me as well. Like that,
yeah,
because we would always spend Christmas at my grandparents' house growing up. And, there's just a very unique
yeah,
time. And, they're grandparents, so they're just there for the fun,
yeah,
not the stress of it all. That's what the parents are for.
correct.
So they were always just having such a good time, laughing, and
So yeah, that's kind of my
So your
random
favorite.
throw-in.
So your number 3 is Granny's in the yard.
Yes,
We'll try to schedule that for this year.
Well, I know you met her just a handful of times,
Yeah.
but she passed away early on when we were dating, and
Very
so
early on when we were dating.
yeah.
Mhm.
So, but her memory every year we crack up about that and keep her in our memory.
Yeah.
She would be fun. She would. Yeah. Anyways.
Well, we already hit my number 3, so I think that means we got to pound on number 2.
Oh my. Okay. Okay, here's my second. Are you ready?
Uh
Snacks are acceptable meals.
huh. That's true.
Because I've already made sausage balls this year. I'll probably make them again. Growing up, summer sausage and like Ritz and cheese. I mean,
we
that
haven't done
was.
that yet this year.
I know.
We need
I
to.
was looking at summer sausage yesterday, and I didn't get any. But, I mean, that would be lunch. That would be a dinner. That would be like it was just acceptable to
Finger
just kind
food
of,
lunches and yeah.
yes, or like little pigs in a blanket,
Uh-huh.
or it's just like those are acceptable foods
Yeah.
around this time of the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, mine, the one that we would always do a lot, especially my grandparents, is that sausage dip, the
Oh,
cream
yeah.
cheese sausage dip.
Oh yeah.
So they're like sausage, rotel, and cream cheese, and you eat it with tortilla chips. But that would be like meals for
Yeah.
several days.
Oh yeah.
So we'll be doing that this year.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's a really good one. And like even for our life group we did kind of like our Christmas life group this past week, and so we just did finger foods.
Yeah.
So everyone, there's some good stuff.
Yeah. It's a little different because with the kids in summer, I do like snack lunches, I guess, but that's more like veggies, like it's different,
You
around
say
this
crack?
time. Crackers.
No, you didn't finish the
Oh, did I
herbs. You
not?
just said
I'm
veggies
sorry.
and crack.
My bad. It's a little different. I try to make those a little healthier for the kids in the summer, but in the winter, yeah.
I think that's December. November to December is probably why people have so many like weight loss goals starting in the new year, because it's like I feel like for me, like I'm fairly disciplined throughout the year, especially this year. Like I lost a decent amount of weight, but then you kind of get into the holiday season, you just kind of slowly.
I discovered homemade hot chocolate this year,
Yeah, that's good.
which has been so good.
That crock pot hot chocolate.
Ooh.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
Finger
Thank you.
foods. See your list. You were nervous about your list, but your list is.
That was one of my first ideas, and I was like, this is going to be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So my number 2 is just simply being with family.
Yeah.
Which I guess we kind of talked about a little bit in your last one, and just kind of the mental break from work.
Yeah.
Like just kind of being able just to pause thought processes on other things. This year, I don't know how it's going to be this year, just because our work situation is different than it was last year. But like last year, I was working for, I don't know if I've talked about it on here before, but I used to work for Chick-fil-A, and I was an area director, so I helped oversee 2 restaurants in our city on our side of town.
Mm-hmm.
And even when you're off of work in that environment, you're still kind of on call. You still get the team member Slack updates, the
Right.
emails, the text threads of just things. And it's not like, I'm not saying that to complain. I'm just saying it's just kind of part of the job. You just kind of always feel like you're a little bit attached to it, even when you're at home.
Right.
In some regard. But Christmas comes and the restaurant's closed on Christmas. So it kind of felt like a real day where you could just like be disconnected completely
Right.
from work and know that you're not going to, like, the restaurant's not going to burn down because no one's there.
Right.
Go ahead and knock on that one. And so I just always kind of liked having that mental break, and then just being with family that you only get to see for us once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's my number 2.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's just a certain sense of coziness to it. I liked, and this is how I kind of am on vacations too. Well, maybe not so much anymore, but I don't like napping on Christmas Day.
Yes, if we're on family vacation, no naps allowed.
Yeah.
Johnny's like, this is family time, which is fine. Unless it's like this summer we went to Branson Silver Dollar City. So you get home and you're just like exhausted. And he's like, no, we can't nap. And you're like,
I would say like if it was a vacation with just you and I and the point of the vacation was to unplug and relax,
right,
then I'd be completely fine with naps.
Right.
But like for Christmas, it's like this day comes once a year. We're with family that we don't get to see super often.
Right.
And we're going to sleep off a portion of the day. It's like, I don't want to do that. You got to stay awake. Fight through it, people. Even if in misery, fight through it.
We have lots of fun.
What's your number 2? Did you already do your number 2?
Yeah, I already did.
So we're already to number 1?
I know. We've already made it.
All right. Okay. You ready?
I don't know who that is, but it is not Santa Claus.
I think it started as Santa and it slowly is divulged into someone else.
It's maybe like the abominable snowman or something.
What'd you say?
Abominable snowman?
Abominable. Is that the right word?
Yes.
Abominable. Abominable.
You always question my words.
Abdominal.
Okay, this one's a little more sentimental.
Okay.
But I just like that Christmas is obviously an obvious season where it's easier to direct our family and our children to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just like that's what it's about. And so it's a lot easier than like in the summer when it's like you're going swimming and we still are incorporating it obviously through our virtues, but this is like every story is about it. Every book we're reading.
Doing the Advent readings, yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little more concentrated and focused. And then also with our family, to stay in that theme, is we every year with a group buy for a family. And so that's another, we're able to like focus our children around. The reason is that we can bless people and to point them to Christ. And so that to me is always just, it's nice that it's an easy sort of, they know what it's about. And so that's where our focus, it kind of gets lasered in.
Yeah. And I think we've been doing a good job, not to necessarily pat us on the back, but I've appreciated a lot of the things that we've done this year, both as a life group and as a family. Of course, you know, like we said, in our life group, each Christmas we adopt a family. Is that the right word? Or
yes, we go through like an organization. Yeah. Yes.
And so, you know, we always take the kids to the shopping, and I didn't go on the shopping last year, but this year, so I don't know if y'all did this last year, but I liked it how, like, because we take cash with us to the store. We go through the list, and then we kind of divvy out the cash to each kid, so each kid gets the opportunity to come up and pay the guy at the register, I thought he was awesome this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a little crazy, but the guy at the cashier, you know, he just was having fun with it too. And I just think those, you know, hopefully those moments are impactful for the kids. And then at our kids' homeschool co-op, they do a market day, which typically is towards the end of the school year. But this year they did it in Christmas season, which I think actually worked out in terms of timing.
Yeah.
Because our kids made homemade Play-Doh, and they made how much?
We made 36 or something like that containers of Play-Doh. They each picked a flavor.
Well, how much money did they make?
Oh, each one of our children made like $17.75, like almost $18.
So each kid $18, and so of course 10% of that goes to the church, and then the rest we pitched the idea to them of like using that money to buy gifts for their siblings,
right?
Which has been fun. So we did a Christmas date with our youngest, and then Danica took our daughter out yesterday, and then I'm going to take my son out soon to like a meal, and then them to one of the stores to use their own cash to purchase a gift for their siblings.
Right, yeah. And it wasn't like we took them to Five Below, which everything's $5 and below. So it wasn't.
Except the back corner section. That's like the I think they call it the 5 and beyond section or something like that.
Oh.
Did you not know that? And the prices go up
No.
back there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. No, I ended up taking our daughter to, I lost like 4 or 5 stores.
Yeah.
She had a specific thing in mind for one of her brothers. We were finally able to find it, but I had already kind of had the foresight that it was going to be
Too expensive.
too expensive. Even like for something that you and I would buy.
Yeah.
But she just knows what he likes. But she was able to find something else. Yeah. So she spent more than our
Yeah.
youngest. But she just, even our youngest, we had to direct him a few times, but he was just so excited,
Mm-hmm.
to like, I'm buying this for my Bubby and Sissy. And then
Yeah.
he wrapped it and put it under the tree. And he's been trying not to tell them, but I think is kind
He's
of
not
hinted.
the best secret keeper
He's
or
3.
surprise keeper.
Right. Surprise keeper. But that's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the first year that we've actually had them do that.
But it's just taking those, because obviously every kid, there can have that bent towards like, what am I getting for Christmas? And I get that, like, it's okay to be excited for that.
When
But
our middle son is already, I've told him time's up.
he's already telling me what he wants on his
On his
list for
birthday.
next year.
Oh yeah, for his birthday and for
And
next
I'm like,
year.
dude,
And
chill.
it's like,
He's the one we have to be like, stop it. You're not allowed to talk to me about toys, presents, nothing for months.
we have to give him like his birthday's on St. Patrick's, so we tell him like, okay, after Valentine's Day, then you can start telling me what you want for your birthday.
Yeah.
It still doesn't. He's still, yeah. Anyways.
He'll just, and he wants the most random stuff. Like now he's into Muckman, which apparently is a villain from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he saw in like a magazine or something. Like, I don't even know. Has he been in? I don't know. But he literally is like a villain made out of trash, and he looks like a slime ball. But he just has his heart set on Muckman right now.
Which, sorry kid, Mom already had bought you some bad guys, and
Yeah,
that
Muckman was
one
not one of them.
was not
Too
one of
late
them.
to the draw on that one.
I saw that one at an antique mall, but it was $30. And
Oh, wow.
sorry.
Yeah.
His other
Not
ones
paying
were fine.
$30 for Muck.
No.
But again, like that practice of trying to instill appreciation for generosity in your kids and like the opportunities to give back to someone else, and you having money, but your mindset not being, this is money for me, but
Right.
this is money I can use to bless somebody else,
Yeah.
is a mindset you have to teach your kids. It's not something that's going to come natural. I mean, heck, we're adults and it doesn't always come natural. You
Yeah.
have to really plan and think about that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
so we try to instill that in them. So,
Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. So what's yours?
my number one is kind of combined, but we talked about celebrating Christ,
Right.
and we kind of talked about that, like just this whole season of like kind of every conversation, every topic, the music, just kind of everything, us being able to direct it back to Christ in a little bit of a clearer path,
Right. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, we still haven't watched The Star.
I know.
And then also it kind of like Christmas, for whatever reason, I always identify Christmas as like a mile marker for a year. Like it's kind of like it's the time where you can really stop and think about the year behind you.
Yeah.
And it's also when you kind of start thinking more about the year ahead. So kind of that whole transition, like I feel like Christmas is kind of the transition into the next year.
Yeah.
And so I always, like every Christmas, I always have the thought, like wondering, what is life going to be like this time next year?
Yeah.
Like next Christmas, what is life going to be like? Well, we know we're going to have a 4th child.
Whew.
And like, the past few years, or past my whole life, I've been working at Chick-fil-A. But for the past few years, I knew that, God was putting something on my heart that would eventually cause me to leave Chick-fil-A. So like last year, I was like, I wonder if I'll still be with Chick-fil-A next Christmas or if I will have left. And, I've left since. So now it's like, okay, I left. And so now I'm sitting here and we're self-employed, but, we're still trying to figure out the nuts and bolts of a business and all that kind of stuff. And so it requires a lot of faith. So now it's like, so I'm wondering like, so where are we going to be next year?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of interesting. I just always view that, and I don't know if I do that at any other season of the year except at Christmas. Just always wondering, like, this time next year, I wonder what the dynamic of our life will be. So I always just enjoy that about Christmas, just the whole kind of instead of whole kind of reflection that comes along with the season.
Yeah.
And like our pastor says a lot, Christmas is a magnifier for a lot of people. The good, the bad, the hurt, the emotions, like Christmas just seems to magnify those things. And so you know, there is a lot of emotion that comes along with Christmas. My mom passed away 5 years ago. 6 years ago? 6 years ago. And you know, and so like not having her at Christmas always stirs up, you know, some emotion. And I know like you've talked about with your granny and same thing with my grandparents, like just, you know, there's kind of like this sense for me as an adult, to like try to capture what I felt like Christmas was for me as a kid and then try to give that to my kids. And then sometimes you just have to come to terms that it's not going to be your experience, you know? And we had to have that conversation this year because we were, you know, with my family trying to figure out where and when and who could do what and that, you know, and it just kind of, and I felt like we were really trying to shove our experience as kids growing up with our family, trying to do the best. It was almost like we were trying to fit a square shaped piece into a triangle, just trying to make it work to be like an experience, but it, you know, just didn't make sense for our family. So, but everything still ended up working out in a way that I think is probably the best option. And I think it's going to still be really, really fun for all of us. So,
yeah. And we have some friends who are also having Christmas a little different than this year too, but I think in the looking back after it, it's not going to matter. You know, I think in the moment you can get caught up with, is this going to be is this going to be exactly what I want? And it's like,
yeah, with few exception,
your children just want to be with you. And
I think the Christmas magic is being with people that love you.
Right. It doesn't matter the place. It doesn't matter the amount. It's just
I can think of maybe
things.
2 Christmases where it was like, because, you know, like as a kid, you do a Christmas list. And I can really only think of maybe 1 or 2 Christmases where it was like I had like that gift that I really, really wanted. And I wasn't sure if I was going to get it or not. You know, like there was like kind of like, is it going to happen? But other than that, like I don't really remember. And it was a Nintendo GameCube, which I did get.
Way to go. So
I remember that. But other than that moment, like most of Christmas, like really the memories that stick with me are just like the meals with family, like being in the room with everyone in the morning and not really thinking about what all the gifts are people giving. So I know that a lot of parents, and I know we can too, put a lot of pressure on the gifts. But really, I think the thing that helps the whole experience be a memory and magical for your kids is just all being together as best as you can and trying to maintain a good attitude, because it can be stressful. There's a lot of kids who want to open all the gifts all at the same time, and you're trying to coordinate it, and I like to draw it out as long as possible.
Yes, me too.
And you know, so sometimes you can kind of like just sit, you know, but you just sometimes have to sit back and take a breath and just realize that this is a memory your kid will have of this day, and so just let it be what it is. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So that was our top 5 Christmas list for our Christmas special. Yes. I hope you made it all the way through this. You know, maybe just for whatever reason.
Maybe you were just curious. Yeah. Do you have the same top 5 or what are things that you
appreciated your list.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I did think about it. It just, I built it up a lot in my head.
It's funny the things that, how sometimes you and I flip-flop on who overthinks things.
Yes.
But this episode is out now, obviously.
Yes.
We won't have one on Christmas week.
Right.
But then we'll have another one on the following week.
Right. New Year's. And that will be kind of like a New Year's themed episode. So it'll be also a little bit of a different theme from our normal. And then the episode after that, we'll get back on track with our normal pace. Yeah.
So appreciate you guys listening. Hope you have a Merry Christmas.
Yes.
Just remember, you know, the reason we do this. And if you're a parent with kids, obviously I don't know, you wouldn't be a parent of no kids, but just, you know, take a deep breath when you need to. Enjoy the season. Gosh, I can't talk. Enjoy the season, even with some of the stresses and challenges that can come along with it. Yeah. And keep Jesus in the center of it all for your kids.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we wish y'all a Merry Christmas, and we will see y'all next time.
Bye.
Oh.